Happy Monday, Liberty Kitty Cats. And before we get into today's episode, I need to tell you about our friends at Lorenzotti, Italy. These guys are not only great coffee connoisseurs and entrepreneurs, they're also libertarians. They're also listeners of this show. They are also Patreon supporters of this show. So they are the kind of person that you want to support. So if you are a coffee drinker, please do head over to lorenzotti.coffee. That's lorenzotti.coffee, not .com. Use discount code LIONS at checkout for 10% off your order. And what's great about these guys, they don't just sell coffee, they also help people set up their own coffee shops. They have financing. They can rent equipment. They do so much to not only provide coffee for people, but also to help set up other people as entrepreneurs in that same space. What an awesome concept. So please do head over to Lorenzotti, Lorenzotti, lorenzotti.coffee, and don't forget to use discount code LIONS for 10% off your order.
Welcome to the Lions of Liberty podcast. Here's your host, your guide, your shining beacon of liberty, Marc Claire.
All right, kitty cats, welcome back here to the flagship Lions of Liberty podcast. And every week here on the flagship, you hear a lot of different things here from me. You hear a little mix and match. You hear some interviews with some great leaders in the liberty movement. You hear some roundtable discussions. You hear some debates like we're going to have very soon between Dave Smith and Andy Craig. I'm looking forward to that one. But today is none of those things. Today is something different because once a month we allow a listener, a patron of the show, specifically at the Nittany level for $50 a month. You too can get in this queue to essentially take over this program for one episode. And today this program has been taken over by longtime patron, Mr. Anthony Meyer, and he wanted us to review a movie that goes by the name of ZARDOZ. Before I say anything else about this movie, I'm going to bring in my panel of expert movie watchers and drinkers, including and starting with my good friend, Mr. Howie Snowden. I'm going in the order that my Zoom has us.
Sure, yeah. This is... It was quite.
Now, we're not in the review yet. Just say hi. Come on, you know how this works. You're diving into your grade, like.
Yeah. Happy to talk about it. I didn't realize it was an Irish movie. I'm glad
Straight
I saw
into Gear 4 with this one.
Glad I saw this '74 Irish classic.
It's the Snowden way, and that you of course heard there, Mr. J.B. Lubin, the Doctor of Science from the city of brotherly love. I'm not just saying that because never mind. Howie, what are you drinking there? Heineken?
Just some Stella.
And you, JB, that is what? I'm going to guess some kind of fine scotch.
Single malt, yeah. It's not fine, but Glenfodry, Speyside single malt, 12 years, cask strength.
And you sound good. Like you've already been dipping in for a little bit of time here.
One glass. I had a nip. Just a nip. Come on.
Do you add water to
professional.
Do you add water to cask strength or just drink it as is?
No, I always add water to cask strength.
I usually
it's like
add
47 to like 54% alcohol. That's a little,
and let it melt. That's my strategy.
It's a little much for me.
There's a Glenlivet Nadora that's a cask strength, and it is excellent. It's aged in American bourbon barrels, and even if you don't water it down, for some reason, this scotch does not cause hangovers at all, ever. It's so good.
All right, and lastly,
I've
got a man here who managed to find time today to take time out of watching and reviewing and ranting about reality television to join us to rant about viewing something even more amazing than reality television. Brian McWilliams, host of Electric Liberty Land.
This isn't Brian McWilliams, you stupid fuck.
Oh, my.
Sean Connery, taking my precious time out of my 90th birthday.
What a surprise.
Come and review ZARDOZ. One of my finest films.
How did you get into Brian's house, Mr. Connery? This is all very strange. And you
I've lived in the attic. Doing all those Bond films. Anyway.
I'm pretty sure Brian
it's too much effort to keep it going.
I'm pretty sure Brian lets anybody dressed like that into his apartment.
I'm actually certain that's true.
Like Sean Connery from some ZARDOZ. Absolutely. If you show up to make it for the record, if you show up wearing a red bandolero with a long braid and a mustache, I will let you in.
Just come
up to my door, knock on the door, just say, I'm here for the giant head, and I'll let you right in.
That outfit has a name. What is it? Bando what?
Well,
I don't know.
bandoleros is what cross your chest with bullets in them.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like that Southwest Mexican outlaw thing. No,
Yeah,
exactly.
Somehow it became a bikini too, and I don't know how.
But so that obscene red like whatever doesn't have a name.
By the way, I'm gonna
whatever it is.
So so the listeners at home know what we're talking about. If you're listening right now, just Google ZARDOZ and Sean Connery so you can see the outfit that we're talking about, because you just must see it. It cannot be described.
I'm not an uptight prude or anything, but I don't think men should be wearing that.
I think it was the highlight of the film, and I think I found my Halloween costume.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah,
JB, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, I think I found my Halloween costume for this year. So
yeah, fully.
Well, you live in Southern California, so you might be able to pull it off a lot better than me. I know. I might be a bit nipply in Philadelphia.
Well, that's what the bandoleros are for. They cover up your nips and they keep your man parts nice and toasty. Well, I love how everybody, have you noticed, like it's like a 70s arty film, right? Although it's a great movie. Have you noticed the ample nudity? I mean, the entire movie is just an excuse to show tits and ass and full bush, no wangs, unlike Game of Thrones, but just ample amounts of nudity.
I was shocked. I didn't think they allowed that.
There's animated wang.
No, that was the time. That was it was time. The 70s is when it started coming out.
So we got uptight after that?
Oh yeah, for sure. No, for sure. Everything that the movies coming out in the 70s were probably the peak of what you could get away with and like the most kind of out there filmmaking. I think we've gone back for sure as a society as far as the movies we make and the concepts.
I would say, yeah, there are 70s movies that are basically pornos that were released like wide release and like they were more or less pornos.
Yeah,
and then I think we reeled it back a little bit.
I've never seen Debbie Does Dallas. Was that a 70s movie?
I believe so, yeah.
That actually is 80s. A porno, though, right? Or
that's a legit porno.
One?
Yeah, that's an actual porno. Yeah, not an Italian art film. That's basically a porno.
So,
like Caligula.
Does Dallas.
Didn't Caligula come out in the 70s?
I believe so. And I watched that with my father.
Awkward. I never saw it, but I'm familiar with the Roman Emperor, so I could only imagine.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, that's one that's literally, like JB is saying, it's just like a straight up porn.
So before I get into the review, here's an interesting ZARDOZ fact. As Howie mentioned, it is a Irish-American film. It was made in 1984. Unlike many movies that are inspired by books, this actually shocked me when I read this. This movie inspired a book. The book came out after the movie.
Yeah, like Jaws.
Like Jaws. ZARDOZ, Jaws,
a book
coincidence?
About Jaws?
They did, yeah.
There's so much to say about this movie, but I'm just going to try to go through it as best as I can based on the shoddy notes that I took while being in absolute awe of what I was watching. And then we can, you guys can dive in whenever you want, and we will try, because this is, in theory, a libertarian podcast. We'll try to find some themes somewhere, maybe. But
there's tons of themes in this.
There are lots of themes. There are lots of themes, but how libertarian are they? That is what we will discuss.
I say at least 50%.
Okay, well, we'll see. But this movie starts off with a narration from this like ridiculous wizard-looking character who has a clearly penciled-on goatee, and to the point that it's obvious they clearly it wasn't even trying to pretend to be real. It was meant to look ridiculous. I have to think. I think it's one of the things I realized about this movie as I was going on. At first, it just seems like a really bad movie, like just a cheesy movie, and it sort of is. But a lot of that, I realized going on is sort of intentional. It's almost part of the story in a way. So anyway, but this guy is narrating. His name is Arthur Frayne, and he's also ZARDOZ, and he is immortal, he informs us. He also tells us that the story takes place in the future. None of these events have yet occurred, but they may. And he admits right off the bat that he's a fake god, and he's convinced these people that he's a fake god, and he's manipulated people. So we cut to the present, or at least the present when it pertains to the story.
Let me stop you real quick.
Did I already miss? How long was it? Was anybody timing that before Howie had to jump in?
Well, no. I also want to jump in, but I want to let you finish your initial ramble.
So you didn't mention that this beginning part, it was like a floating head. Now,
the floating head is my next thing. You haven't seen the floating head.
No, not the floating head. The Arthur Frayne, they had him, it was like his head was like floating. It wasn't like
early chroma key. Really excited about the technology.
So our puppy, Loki, watches TV. This is the first time he saw this floating head on the screen, and he started freaking out, barking at the TV, going nuts. So I'm like trying to listen to what he's saying, but I'm like, oh my God, this is hysterical. I'm like recording videos of him barking. And then, like, it goes to the next scene Mark's about to talk about with a stone floating head, and he doesn't like that either. And he's going crazy barking at the TV. Okay,
I think we found your dog's weakness is floating heads.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say it reminds me very much of the Greek dramas. You know, it was kind of like opening up with this floating head, kind of giving you the synopsis of what's going on. So I think
did
it was
have
intentional.
that. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's a good thing. I was trying to like pinpoint like what it felt like to me, almost like Shakespearean erotica. I wrote that down in my notes, like an overall thing.
How Shakespearean erotica do you watch that you're like, you know what this reminds me of? Shakespearean erotica.
Yeah, I was trying to find a term that encapsulates this movie. And I think it's more like the Greek tragedies than Shakespeare.
Yeah,
it was old timey, the way that the movie progressed, and I couldn't pinpoint like what like artistic theme it was, but it is Greek. Yeah, now that you mention it, I think it's definitely Greek.
Yeah, and by the way, top 5 weirdest openings to a film ever.
Maybe
like,
top 1.
Yeah, it is absolutely insane. You start watching, you're just like immediately, like some movies it takes you a second. This one just right off the bat, you're like, what the fuck?
I said those words out loud immediately. I was like,
seriously,
what is
besides
happening?
the dog barking at the floating head, then we have the gun is good, penis evil. The gun is good, penis is evil.
Yeah,
My wife's
the gun
like,
purifies.
what are
Go
you
forth
watching?
and kill.
Howie's hijacking the recap here. But yes, this is we hear these words from this giant rock face in the sky, which we find is ZARDOZ, or is what these people believe to be ZARDOZ. Some of these people are just in these those weird bathing bikini bandolera outfits with the knee-high boots, including Sean Connery. Some of them have giant masks on that are sort of versions of that same head. So we realize these people worship this thing, this ZARDOZ, this giant rockhead, as a god. As how I mentioned, he says a bunch of things to them. He says that he gave them the gift of the gun. The gun is good. The penis is evil. The gun shoots death and purifies the earth. So that's all exciting. That's very interesting messaging he's sending to them.
It's like a cargo cult.
Suddenly we see that Sean Connery has a gun. He points it, and then we cut to a new scene, and suddenly
he points it at us.
He points it at us. Yeah, he points it at the viewer. Wow.
Yeah.
JB's going deep on this.
At me specifically.
I think he did point it at us, and I think he pulled the trigger. And I think and we've been dead since then, and this entire rest of this movie is a dream, including this podcast.
I've known for quite some time, but I didn't want to tell you guys. Didn't want to bring you down.
Well, should we even keep doing this then?
Well, we're dead. What else do we have to do?
That's a good point. All right, moving along. So Sean Connery appears. He's like under some dirt inside the giant ZARDOZ head. He's poking around. He sees some naked bodies encased in like plastic bags. And then he sees this ZARDOZ, or the man that introduced himself as Arthur Frayne, standing towards the edge. And, Connery
Can I just stop you real quick? Let's just make sure we're painting a tapestry for people.
Okay.
They need to know that the people that are in this head, they're encased in, plastic bags, but they're also completely nude.
Oh, I thought that was obvious.
Yeah, I just want to make sure people know just how much nudity is in this movie.
You don't keep people encased in plastic with clothes on. That's just silly.
No, definitely not. No. Definitely. I was angry every time I bought a toy as a kid that they weren't naked inside the plastic that they came in.
Yeah, so ZARDOZ sees Connery here, who we're still calling Connery because he hasn't been given a name in the movie at this point. But he shoots ZARDOZ, and ZARDOZ floats away. He falls off the head, but he doesn't really fall. He kind of just floats away, and he's ranting and raving about how he could have shown him something. We don't even know what. So then Connery, we don't even know how. I guess he somehow knows how to fly the head, or the head flies itself to the ground somewhere. He's back on the ground. He comes out. He starts exploring this village. And the first thing I thought was that the future looks very oddly like the 1800s.
Yeah, right? Wasn't that interesting? It's super futuristic, but then also medieval techniques. They're
kind of commies. So what do you expect?
Goddamn commie! It's like the fucking commies of the new age with their iPhones, yet complaining about how we all should be going back and plowing all the land together. I
don't know. I'm kind of into the cottagecore stuff.
Is that another type of porn I don't know about?
Cottagecore, is that just roughing it?
It's like the aesthetic.
There's hardcore.
It's like the aesthetic of living in like the land, the cottage, the little
Yeah, that's fine. As long as I have my modern niceties.
Why do we have to call it something core?
I don't. That's what they're calling it. I'm like, what is this? I hear people mentioning it, so I googled it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of into that too. But as Brian mentioned, if that would be a good porn genre as well.
Yeah, but also almost sounds like what Gary Collins, Marc's guest, was talking about. Getting out.
I don't remember him talking about
from
porn.
It all. Yeah.
Oh, that.
I thought that's how he made the money.
I think you really misinterpreted that episode.
Are you thinking
stop
of
me from coming.
You thinking
That's
the Vin
for sure.
Armani episode?
The reason I love the flagship show is that one week you might hear Jason Stapleton talking about nomadic wealth. Next week you might hear Gary Collins talking about simplifying your life. And the next week you might hear a bunch of idiots talking about this insane movie. That's what you get here on Lions of Liberty.
Exactly.
And
Here,
also,
here.
That's before
you
we
could also
like
hear
him.
Jason Stapleton talking about idiotic stuff on Bravo and Beer.
That's true.
You can, but they're not a
He was
sponsor
on.
of today's episode, so we can't talk about that. Moving on.
We're a sponsor of great podcasts because
Unless
we bring it to you.
Brian
every week.
Venmos me $7 right now.
That's
how
how
we do
this
things
podcast
here.
worth $7. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about another thing too. When they get there, did you notice that all the like Zed? Well, we found out that Sean. Connery's name is
Spoiler.
Zed. Yeah, spoiler alert.
I'm trying to
but
lead them
we find
along
out he's
here.
Zed, and then he finds a ring in Arthur Frayn's house, right? And it's projecting like all these different words, and it's like images and words. And I liked how they accurately predicted that all of the assholes in the world would be using Z's for everything instead of S's. You like that?
Did him being named Zed, does this have anything to do with Pulp Fiction? Like, Zed is dead.
No,
That's probably
no, it's
I
Z.
don't think so.
It's foreign, so Z
Yeah,
is
it's just
just Z.
Z.
That's how Brits pronounce the letter Z.
Oh, really?
And
What? They
Canadians
call it
and
Zed?
Europeans.
Yeah,
and
his name is Z.
Australians.
Yeah,
Everyone
the
but
letter
us.
Z. Yeah,
We're the only
basically-
ones that say Z.
Yeah,
You go
it's
to the
Zed.
zoo there,
Whoa.
they're like, have you seen
Yeah.
the zebra? And you're like, zebra? You
What do
British
the
asshole.
Spaniards call it? It's not Zed or Z.
I don't know. Do they lisp it at you? Because they look
I think it's
call-
probably Zed.
They call like Y isn't like oubliekes or something like
Yeah,
that.
Iglek. It means, at least in French, Y is Greek I, and literally translated Iglek. So it's probably that in Spanish.
I love language.
Stay tuned.
Weird
to
tangent.
Lions of Liberty Spanish classes. It's just pronounced like basically like S. The pronunciation, not what they call it.
Zebra?
No, I'm
Zebra.
saying it's like the sound that it makes it in Spanish.
Dude,
It doesn't sound like a Z. There's no
I took
Z in Spanish.
Spanish class with Pete Hill, and it was
Welcome
crazy.
to Linguists of Liberty here on the Lions of Liberty podcast, the brand new show that we're launching.
So I did take Spanish with Pete Hill, and they would like you'd have
I
to
like how he
speak in-
says Pete Hill is like it's a
you'd have
famous
to
person
speak
people
in
should know.
Spanish like in class. It was very intimidating. So we would like drink before class, so it's much more easier and comfortable.
Best way to learn language here at Linguists of Liberty is to get drunk.
Our professor Gillian Lord, she would also for our like quizzes, you'd have to go meet her at the bar, and you'd like do a shot and then speak some Spanish, and then
And then, wow, how many of her students ended up fucking her? I say
it's so funny because she was
30%.
attractive. Her name was Gillian Lord. Doesn't it sound like a porn star name?
Well, now I have to
Sure
Google
does.
it. Is she still teaching?
I don't know, but I do recommend that class.
It's really incredible the number of porn references
And
that
I
have already
found
been
her.
made in this episode.
Took 2 seconds. Ah, she is not bad. And this is the current picture. I can imagine 20 years ago when we were there.
Yeah, this is probably like 2000. Yeah, 20 years ago.
Not bad at all. A little redhead action or a little.
got a
Hopefully
little-
her,
She's got
hopefully
a little
her,
like turtle tattoo on her ankle.
hopefully her innocent
wow.
11-year-old
You're a
son
real
doesn't listen to
stalker.
the show.
Howie, that's called Tortuga. Clearly the class did not take with you.
Tortuga. No, I knew that. I even know all the Spanish animal sounds, like the dogs say "gua gua" and the roosters say "kikariki kikariki."
Wow.
They don't say "cockadoodle-doo" like in
all I know is
America.
Spanish people and Mexican people sometimes too. They tell you about typing ha 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 or he he. They type g g g g j j e j e j j j j j.
Yeah. Some of
This is what the rest of the show is going to be. No more
They use the
ZARDOZ.
JA 'cause that's how you
Linguists
say
of
it.
Liberty. This is
Oh,
officially Linguists of
Let's
Liberty.
start that one.
It's the
I'm all in
exact
on
same
that.
thing. Ha 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 ha. JA. It's same, but that's what is in their language.
That's when you know that you're playing with Brazilians in WoW, and you should get in another group.
No, Brazilians pronounce J's normally, like Jose Mourinho.
But when
can't
they
speak for
type, but when they
Brazilians.
type
I'm not
it,
gonna
when
talk
they
about
type
them.
it,
All I know is a lot of crime in Brazil, including rape. So let's get back into this, where we learn about all the people that ZARDOZ raped. Or no, Zed raped.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
dude,
We're
he
not
does
even at
not.
the rape yet.
He does not
Well,
respect the
I
nap
don't know
at
when
all.
we're going to get through this thing. It's taking forever.
We're going to get through it when you guys let me.
Zed does not respect the nap.
Yeah, we just talk about languages for like 10 minutes. So
I mean, that's not my fault.
Yeah, let's
Let's
get
get
back
into
on
the
track here.
language of love.
I guess it's all my fault because I'm the host.
The
and
forced language of love.
I allowed this to air on my own podcast, so it's my fault from the beginning. Anyway, we do eventually find out from Zed poking around Arthur Frayn's house and then talking to the ring that the year is in fact 2293, even though it doesn't look like what we might imagine that might look like. And this little computer system is calculating something. It's saying like, it's calculating the surpluses and needs. So it's basically like how he said, like a communist commune. There's a central computer that's calculating what people need and what people want and blah, 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 blah. And then Sean Connery requests meat. He just says, meat. And Brian, how does he say it? that wasn't a great impression. Anyway.
Sean Connery doesn't say meat that special. You need the S's. It's all about the S's with Sean Connery.
So he tries to grab the holographic meat, only to find out that he can't do that. We also find out from a hologram of Arthur Frayn that he is in Vortex 4, something called Vortex 4 is where they are located right now. Or where they is where they are right now, right? Is the Vortex, right?
No, they went through the Vortex to get to the areas because the Vortex is like a protective barrier that the other men, the Brutals and the Chosen can't get through.
Okay. So Sean Connery's still poking around. He sees this naked chick on a horse. He also just tries to shoot at. So he also wanders down to the lake, and this weird lady approaches him. I think that's May, right? And he tries to shoot her, but it just fucks him up. He can't shoot her.
And Brian, what does he? He's like, "Am I dead?" I can't do the Connery.
Oh yeah, what does she say? She says she says, "Is this?" He said he was there to like find the afterlife or something like that. He's like, "Is this the afterlife?" He's like, well, do you feel like you're dead? And he looks around like, I have no idea what's happening. He can't even respond.
Am I dead?
Am I dead?
No, you're Zed.
Am I dead? Zed's dead. I'm Zed. Anyway, moving on.
See, it does tie in. It does tie in.
She's got
Zed is crazy, dead, baby.
She's got crazy psychic motherfucking powers. This redhead, who's very unattractive, by the way, for those of you playing at home.
Yeah, this one's not great.
What redhead? The freckly one.
The freckly one's not great.
All these old-timey people.
Of all the naked people you see in this movie, probably the least attractive.
All the old-timey people look the same to me. It's like,
no, Consuela is considerably hotter than May.
Naked old-timey person.
Consuela is quite strikingly beautiful.
Consuela clearly takes the cake here. I mean,
no, she's definitely considerably hotter than May. May's the freckly face one, right?
See, I can't even think it though because watching it the whole time in the back of my mind, I know this was in '74 and they're so like disgusting now.
maybe not. That's not
like I stopped
These people
and Googled
could be
what
listening to the show right now.
I googled what Consuela looks like now just to see, and she held up okay.
Really?
Yeah, that's not nice, Howie.
Then again, Sean Connery's still a handsome man. I'm surprised we didn't record this on his birthday, which is like 2 days ago. Brian referenced it. I don't know if
I know.
Oh, was it really?
Well,
we should have.
Howie, if you didn't peek behind the curtain, we could have pretended we did. But
thanks a lot,
Howie. Exposed it.
Or you could
Sean
spend
Connery,
2 seconds
still the only
edit
man.
this out.
The only man I'd let have sex with me. Definitely still Sean Connery.
We then find out, so Connery is being now interrogated.
He's not even the best James Bond.
Oh, wow. Well, let's not start that whole controversy today. That's going to be too much.
It's a different show that Howie will lose.
It's Roger Moore.
Peter Moore, then?
No, I don't know. I've never heard of Peter Moore, but it is Roger Moore.
Pierce
Griffin as Roger Moore.
All right. Do we have to take a break? Do we have to take a break to rank the Bonds right now? Is that what you're going to make us do? Is that what's going to happen? I'm going to number 1, Idris Elba in the future.
Actually, I don't really think Pierce Brosnan was the best James Bond. I was just saying that to try to get Brian to rage, but it didn't work. So
I'm just content to let it pass. We all know Sean Connery's the best. It's ridiculous.
I know.
Let it go.
You knew I couldn't possibly believe what I was saying.
Of course not. No. I'm just going to allow it to play itself out.
You didn't step into my trap.
It's like when people try to pretend Michael Keaton's not the best Batman, and it's just ridiculous.
I know. Michael Keaton's by far the best Batman.
By far.
Yeah, he is. But you know what?
Shit.
You know what? If Christian Bale
to rank the Batmans?
If Christian Bale didn't do the stupid voice, he might have come close.
I feel like Adam West Batman has to be ranked in almost a different category because he's obviously not playing even essentially the same character. He's playing basically cheesy Batman, and the rest are playing serious Batman. But if I had to rank them, I'm going obviously Keaton number 1, and the bottom is going to be of course Clooney and Kilmer. I don't know which is worse there. They're both pretty fucking bad. To be quite
I didn't even watch those.
Worse than Affleck.
Affleck was.
I was trying to build up to the fact that Affleck is my number 2 behind Michael Keaton, even above Christian Bale.
No, Christian Bale above Affleck for sure.
You guys are fools.
I
Affleck
didn't
was
even
awesome.
watch those movies, but I know Ben Affleck.
Val
was
Kilmer
better
is
than
the
they were.
worst for me. He's number one.
But he was-
he's number last, I guess.
hard to
whatever
argue
the
with that.
number
He-
is number last.
He was awesome playing Jim Morrison in The Doors, though, and he sang all those songs too.
That doesn't give him a pass on that.
Oh, that shows
Yeah,
you how
that has
shitty,
nothing
how shitty
to
the
do
Doors
with
songs
Batman.
are.
Yeah.
No, it does
That
not.
shows you how
I'm just saying-
talentless you had to be to
And
be in the
also,
Doors as
Jim
the lead
Morrison
singer.
can't be Batman, so
I'm just
all the
saying.
more reason he shouldn't
I'm
have
just
played him.
saying it's valid to shit on Val Kilmer for his Batman performance, but let's not forget he did some great acting in his day.
He did. And also in Top
I
Secret.
believe it.
And also Top Gun.
I'm not decrying the man's acting.
All
skills.
the movies that start with top, Val Kilmer's amazing in. Little known fact. Name a movie Val Kilmer's in that starts with top that he's not great in. You can't.
Hey, and he was in
Top or the bottom.
He was in True Romance. Did a pretty fine job there.
True.
All right,
True
now we have to
Romance.
rank
Well, anyway.
Christian Slater movies because you mentioned. True
Oh,
Romance.
Gleaming the Cube.
Cuffs.
Gleaming the
Cuffs
Cube.
number one with a bullet. Cuffs number one with a bullet.
Have you guys seen Gleaming the Cube?
Yes.
I had to pay like $90 to get it on DVD because it was never released on DVD. But someone took like a VHS tape and like put it on a DVD, and I bought it for $90.
I mean, it's
$90
on
bucks?
YouTube for free.
Dude, it was the only person who had a DVD copy of Gleaming the Cube. I don't have a VHS player anymore.
It's actually Christian Slater himself. That's the only way he's making money right now. Selling bootleg copies of Gleaming the Cube to people like Howie.
Man.
Hey kid, you want a copy of Gleam in the Cube? That's my Christian
Howie.
Slater. That's all I got.
Howie.
Is
It's
he-
basically
is
Jack
he still
Nicholson but
cool?
with a higher voice.
Is he still cool?
Christian Slater?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Like he can't do like
Why
a
would you
movie
presume
now.
that?
Cartoons.
Why
Was it-
would I
doesn't he
presume
have-
that he's not?
Wasn't he in some TV show recently?
Cooler than you.
Yeah, he does. He's been in voice. he
That's
does
not really
voiceover
saying
stuff.
much.
And he was in that show about the cultists. that
Pretty
everybody
low
liked
bar, Mark.
with Kevin Bacon in it, I think.
Oh, I like Kevin Bacon.
All right,
All
let's
right,
get back on
ranking the
fucking
Kevin
track.
Bacon. Okay, we've done enough sidebars here. I mean, this whole show is a sidebar. Let's be honest. From
Actually, can I tell a really funny Kevin Bacon story?
Whoa, look at
Is
this
it
guy.
going to be that funny though?
if it involves you personally
I think it
interacting
is.
with him, yes.
So you know how he is in a band
doesn't,
like
does
the Bacon Brothers? Him and like, I guess his brother or whatever. Anyways, a friend of mine saw them at a bar in Philly and he went up to them. They pretended like they didn't know who Kevin Bacon was, but his brother, like, oh, you're the guy for the Bacon Brothers. We fucking love your band. And it's like totally ignored Kevin Bacon. There's like fawning all over his brother.
That is funny.
I don't know.
That
I
is,
thought, all
that
right,
is funny. I appreciate
let's move
that.
on. Let's move on.
I want to take a moment to acknowledge that Howie actually had an interlude that did live up to the what he was saying. It was amusing, which is all you
So-
ever offered.
So
All
I
right.
have a moment of silence.
All right, my Liberty Kitty Cats, I need to take a quick moment here, not for a moment of silence, as may have been suggested there by JB, but I am going to use this moment to tell you about one of our amazing sponsors, the North Spokane Hemp Company. These guys are amazing sponsors all year round because they bring people an amazing product known as CBD. It's the part of the cannabis plant that does not get you high, but it is known to help you with many, many effects, including inflammation, insomnia. Many people use it to help their dogs that have hip problems and this sort of thing, problems with their joints. But right now, for a very, very limited time only now through Labor Day, you can get a 25% discount. That's right, 25% discount on your order over at NorthSpokaneCBD.com. That's North Spokane, SPOKANE, NorthSpokaneCBD.com. Just use discount code LIONS at checkout to get that 25% off your entire order. Let's get back to this ridiculous review. What do you say? Now, back to Zed. If you even remember what movie we're talking about at this point, friends, Zed is now being interrogated, or this is where you find out his name is Zed. He's kind of like on this table, and they're viewing his his memories, I guess, on the screen. And then they're also asking him questions, and he says that
Can I stop you for a second there and just point out
Absolutely.
something? I guess, again, remember the tapestry we're painting here, Mark. He's in a room. They're probing his mind. Now, what is all over the room? It's got glass windows and glass walls. What do we see all around the room?
More
I don't remember. I was drinking pretty heavily when I watched this.
It was all naked people. Literally, the walls were covered in naked people, kind of like in Rick and Morty, where the walls are covered in naked Mortys. Just again, have to stop you to point this out. All naked people.
The drawings, right? They were like drawings, weren't they? Or am I thinking
No,
of
they were real
No,
naked people.
I'm thinking of when he was in a house
laying
and
against
found
the
drawings.
glass. Well, again, spoiler alert, but they're coming back.
Man, so many spoilers here. Yeah, Brian. Whenever Brian mentions painting the tapestry, just so you know, he's about to tell you.
Can you
that they're
spoil a
naked
movie
people.
from 1974?
It's
Yes.
very in this context you can.
Absolutely.
Would you?
Like,
would,
Jesus.
would you
this
listen to
is-
a podcast review of a movie you haven't watched yet?
Well, I
Yes.
I guarantee thousands of people are literally doing that right now. Maybe
Without
for the
a
last
doubt.
time, but they're doing it right now. They
But
might
look,
be
it's
hitting the
important to note
unsubscribe
because-
button.
No, if you cared about being spoiled. Yeah, that was another.
I
that was
never
another
cared.
part about that.
I don't know why
sentence.
people care. I like to know what happens. It's still interesting to see it play out on the screen. Like if you told me you were making a movie and you told me the plot, I'm like, that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
I want to
and-
see it when it comes out. And I see
Well,
like,
the plot
oh,
and
yeah,
the
that
conclusion
was
are
cool.
different things.
And
No.
in this movie in particular, I think it'd make absolutely no difference whether you know the entire plot beforehand or not. I don't think it makes a goddamn difference, honestly. So
I think I could get more out of it every time I watched it, just like reading the Bhagavad Gita. There's
I
so
agree
many
completely.
layers to this. It's a deep movie, for real.
It's like a hairy onion.
We're adding layers every minute here with the Bacon Brothers and the Batman rankings. Anyway, ZARDOZ we find is we find that Zed, who he says his name is Zed, he kills for ZARDOZ. He's an exterminator. That's what he says his job was for ZARDOZ. And we see through one of his memories that apparently he also rapes for ZARDOZ, because we see a little rape scene when he is raping a woman with one of the giant
Took a woman-
ZARDOZ helmets on.
Took a woman in his name. And I like that they breed
But
and
I didn't-
multiply for the rulers. Like,
I
there's
didn't
certain
understand
people that are
that.
allowed.
Yeah, it was like you're high ranking if you're allowed to breed.
yeah, I
'cause so-
took a miss. Is that what's going on? Because I got that kind of confused me because I thought the penis was bad.
Well, that's the
Well,
thing.
here's
though.
the thing.
So
Well,
only the
from-
children are allowed. So it's selective breeding, which we find out. As
Yeah,
the movie goes along.
yeah, the whole
There's
eugenics
that.
thing.
There's that, but there's also, like Bill Gates, you can't have overpopulation, but you do need to continue your line of workers to do all the work for you.
Right.
Yeah, this Arthur Frayne character was, we know he was manipulating all sorts of things.
He
from
was a
both
George
sides.
Soros of his day.
Sort of. Yeah, you could say that.
I liked him better, though.
So the
He didn't,
ladies,
he didn't aid the Nazis, at least.
I think
Wait a
Howie
minute.
should take over.
ZARDOZ, Soros, ZARDOZ.
Oh.
Don't give it away. Give it away. All right.
right.
Anyway, May and Consuela, who we find out is the other one's name, are saying that this is their first direct contact with this place they call the Outlands in years, which apparently is the place that Zed here and all those other brutalists, as they call them, were from. They find out that Arthur Frayne is dead, but they can't see the memory. They can't see the actual part where Zed shoots him. They just know that he fell out of the thing and is dead, but they can't access that part of the memory. So it seems that for some reason, Zed has the ability to block them from seeing certain memories, and they are not sure what to do, so they are going to bring up a vote to kill him. And I also made the note here that Consuela is hot.
Yes,
As we
Consuela is
previously
hot.
noted. We also learned, like you said, only the chosen can breed.
Why didn't
And,
they just make him old or put him in, like, the home?
Well, because she wants to study them, and because Howie, you're
I mean,
we
like,
don't
don't
why,
know
why-
about that yet. That's
like,
why.
why would
We don't
they?
know, but we know
would
why.
they
There's a
kill him
specific
instead?
reason.
They seemed very reluctant to kill until that one dude, like,
Well,
just kill
Consuela
them?
wants to kill, but there's reasons behind why they don't kill him and why May is defending him, as we will learn.
okay.
Or will we? We might not get that.
Well, Howie apparently didn't learn it, and he watched the whole movie, but we learned it.
Yeah, and then he's just in the flashback. You just see how brutal like Sean Connery is. He's just on a horse, and the way he's gunning down these like regular people that aren't wearing these ridiculous bikini bandolera outfits.
Yeah, and like, what were they called again? Like, what is? It was difficult to understand like the social structure of this future. Like, you have these enforcers in the the bikinis, which Zed is part of, and you have like this underclass, and you have the immortals.
They all
But I don't
worship ZARDOZ, but ZARDOZ specifically commands the red bikini troops, as we'll call them, I guess, to be like they're basically they're basically the slave masters, even though they're sort of slaves themselves. They're
It's pretty
Okay,
clear.
yeah.
It's
So
pretty
they're the
clear.
masters. They're the.
They do the slave work for the communists to get the food that they're distributing to the different places, but they can't have overpopulation, so they got to kill all these people because communists the whole
they
price
misallocate
thing.
those resources.
The whole price thing, they can only feed so many people, so they got to kill all the extras.
Yeah, because they got to be there busy making the green bread that we see that everyone eats in this village. This delicious looking green
Passing
bread.
it around creepily. No, never mind.
Yes.
I was going to say, they show so they bring in, or maybe I'm falling forward a little bit here, but they bring in everybody, right? And they vote. They don't kill them. But I liked how the men were so beta male, to use the phrase that is tossed around now. Like every man in the future is very kind of like meek and timid, and like there's no like the brutals are the manly men, and it reminds me of the beta males of today. You know, the sneaky Pete's that try to be very feminist and then try to sneak in the back way to have sex.
Sneaky Pete's.
Again, they're commies. It should not be surprising.
No, exactly. But again, this is where like things like I noted things in this movie that I was like, wow, they were really ahead of the curve here. You know, like Sean Connery's the brutal like man, and then you get up here and it's all kind of like very fey.
Are commies known as soft? They certainly do a lot of murdering for being. I've never considered that commies should be soft.
No, you're right.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
You're right. You're right. Commies are not soft at all. You're totally right. But these leftists in America that pretend to be commies are very soft. But real commies, no, yeah, you're right. I've been mixing with real commies recently. They're like pro guns.
You've been mixing with them?
Yeah.
Going to mix.
I thought they just murder for fun. Last I checked my historical record.
So I observe them, but I interject sometimes. Like I interjected in one of their posts today where they were shitting on the cops, and I'm like, "That's right. They're only here to protect the elite. Arm yourselves." And then I'm second guessing, like, should I really be telling communists to arm themselves? But I'm like, yeah, everybody should be armed. Everybody should be armed. It's fine. But then I got a bunch of likes, so those communists are like, yeah, they want to protect the elite. Let's arm ourselves. Yeah, so, real communists are hard, but these fake prog bougie punks are not.
Yeah. So wait, so do we get to the point where he meets the blonde-haired guy?
Yes, that's where we are. So I'll let you recap this, but I won't let you do it until I tell you what I named this person. His name in the movie is Friend, but I named him. I think you're gonna like this. I named him Ringo Mccartney because he looked like Ringo and Paul McCartney had a baby and grew up.
It looks like what his son's gonna look up to be.
Yeah, so
I thought he looked a little like.
Friend will now be referred to as Ringo McCartney only. Thank you.
Ringo McCartney.
Is Paul McCartney still alive?
Yeah.
It depends on unless you think Paul is dead.
It depends on if you think eating
our next conspiracy
being
corner.
a leftist fuckball is alive. I don't. Okay, so he meets our friend.
Is Ringo alive, or did he get stabbed or something?
The Ringo thing is Ringo was never alive. That's the weird thing. He was always.
But didn't somebody like creep into his place and stab him?
I think that did happen. I think that did.
And I only know
that guy looked a little like Gene Wilder to me. Doesn't he look like Gene Wilder?
Yeah, he did a little Gene Wilder to him. Yeah, totally.
That's more accurate, but less funny.
Was Gene Wilder not acting in '74? Because he would have been good in this.
No, I'm almost certain he was, right? Yeah,
absolutely. He was.
Yeah.
If you want to view paradise, then Sean Connery shoots him in the head. All right, so anyway,
tell us about Friend and what goes
Ringo
on.
McCartney, aka Friend. At first, you think he's like this kind of asshole, right? Because he's very smart alecky and he treats him kind of like shit. And then he starts to explain to Zed as he's taking him around. And by the way, one of the funniest scenes, like they're going around in the cart and he meets, the people that don't care anymore, like what do they call them? The apathetic, right? You remember that scene?
Yeah.
So friends taking Zed around.
I think that's where I'm at.
Okay, so first he takes him down into one of the most hilarious scenes I've ever seen of special effects in the 70s, where Friend first takes him down into his friend den, or his McCarthy hole, or whatever you want to call it. And there's like this
friend den's good.
The friend den. So it's got this like mirrored pyramid, and they go in the side of it, and he's supposed to just kind of like disappear down it. And Sean Connery, because there's no special effects, he just goes to the side and then pretends to be floating down slowly into the hole. It looks fucking ridiculous.
It looks terrible. That's what it looks
I
like.
was drinking heavily, but didn't he like break something in there by accident?
Yeah, he did. He was helping Friend clean up and he broke something. But Friend takes him around, or Ringo McCarthy takes him around, and he takes him in this cart giving out the green bread and shit to these people called the apathetics. And they just stand around, and basically, this is what I kind of like, because I thought it was a good future commentary on society today. These people are so apathetic because they live forever. They have everything they need. They don't have anything to worry about. And we learn that you can commit psychic violence, which I think is very pertinent today. So as Zed is carting Friend around, and they're in this apathetic part where Sean Connery does manage to squeeze the best-looking one's titties, and you get to see them because this is the 70s.
Is that an NAP violation?
Is this when he threw the woman in the hay and he was going to rape her
is it?
because she was so apathetic? He's like, oh, I'm not going to have sex with an apathetic.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is right before that.
Yeah, exactly. So right before that, so it, the friend's ring flashes up, right? That's how they all communicate. And it flashes to this hologram trial. And this guy, George, he goes, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to commit psychic violence. I have no thoughts. And then I think it's the same scene where he goes, I hate you. I hate you all. And then Arthur Friend goes, I'm with you, George. And I was like, yeah, Arthur.
Yeah. I like Friend.
A Friend was great. So there's this psychic violence trials where you don't have to do anything but negative thoughts, kind of like 1984. Negative thoughts will get you put on trial in society.
Yeah, he was just thinking poorly about the rest of the elite people, so that was enough for him to get
I didn't even catch that because due to my heavy drinking.
It was one of the most important parts of the movie.
Howie, this is still 15 minutes into the movie, so you probably haven't caught much else the rest of the way if you were that drunk then.
Well,
we're glad to have
this
you
is
here.
very early
Well,
on.
I don't know if it was too early for my main takeaway, but to me, this whole thing screamed about
It's too early for your
like how Freud talked about like the death drive, and like the fact that like if you were gonna like live forever, how awful that would be. And even
we haven't even gotten to this part yet.
even us, we're not living forever, but we kind of do that self-sabotaging death drive type shit. And
Well, that's what I'm saying with society today. We all have it. Like, people don't realize how good they have it. Like, we wouldn't have these fucking riots in the streets over smaller things. Not to say a man's dying isn't a big thing, but you would not have this level of like discontent if people realize just how fucking good they have it.
yeah,
Like,
not related.
and the fact that we have it so good, the fact that people are at home getting paid by the government to not work, and it enables them to go out and riot for 87 nights in a row. That doesn't happen if you're literally have to go fucking farm to put food in your mouth to feed your children. It only happens in societies like this.
Like in France with the yellow vest.
Well, no, it only happens in places where there's cities. Like, again, rioting and like...
Well, yeah, but JB,
the first riot came lock in step with the first city. Okay?
But JB,
Well, it's probably true.
in France, when they had the yellow vest things going on for like a couple of years now, because the people had to work, they worked during the week, and then they went and like protested and rioted on the weekends. But then they went back to work for all week, and it's like, but I know we took that away. We took away the need to work because government just sends you a check. Here's your riot check. Go riot, folks.
Well, anyway, getting back on track, I wrote this note down. I think it's a note that really sums up the movie. What a great role. You get to fondle boobs, wear a braid, and you have that great outfit.
Yeah, I wonder if you had to keep it.
I hate that outfit.
You're an idiot, Howie. You're the person that would be most likely to wear that outfit. Every
No
day of the
way,
year.
man.
Of all
No
the
way,
people that can hate
man.
the outfit, you're the one that's opposing it. Get out of here.
I think we
Voted
also
most
learned...
likely to wear a red bikini. Howie Snowden.
Not me.
Yeah.
Well, if it was like a real red bikini, not that.
Well, my next note, I have to let Mark take over now because my next note is not till a note about having better boner animations.
Well, that's coming right up next, but first...
Okay, good.
But first we find out that...
So you also noted that?
Well, I noted the boner animations. I didn't make a
I
commentary
missed
about whether
it.
they needed to be better or not. But yeah, I mean, this is where what's interesting is the guy's sentence. I think he's sentenced to age 3 years, or you find that out afterwards. I think when they're kind of riding back and Sean Connery's pulling friend, and he basically explains like when you're sentenced to you're not imprisoned, you're not sentenced to death, you're just sentenced to age a certain number of years. So I think this one guy was sentenced to age like 3 more years. So he just gets 3 years older. That's his sentence.
That's what they explained, which is why I was so shocked when they just killed Friend a little while later. They
Jeez,
just killed
Howie.
him. They just
Well,
killed
they
him.
didn't kill him.
They didn't kill him, Howie.
They didn't
My
kill him.
God, we are so
thought they
fucked with
did.
these things that you're talking about. It's
Well,
absolutely
Howie
outrageous.
clearly is going to add a lot to this conversation.
Howie's
Wasn't
not
he-
going to be a professional.
wasn't he
Don't quit
like-
your day job, Howie.
I know you can get like reborn or whatever, reconstituted, but they straight up killed him with their thoughts.
Why don't we try to
they
get there
didn't
naturally,
at
Howie?
all.
Why don't we try to get there naturally, Howie? How about
All right,
that?
all right.
All right, yeah, and Brian's correct. None of that happened. Anyway, Brian, I think, and then in this one scene though, when they're with the apathetics and Friend is describing them, he tells Sean Connery he can go have his way with one of them, the one whose boob he grabbed. So he literally takes the chick and just throws her into this bunch of hay.
Yeah,
And
this
then,
bale of hay. That was
he-
my favorite part of the movie, by
That
the
was
way.
hilarious. And then he
I don't
starts-
know what that says about me. Probably not good things.
And she's probably not good things about any of us. And she doesn't move. She's a dead dead fish. He's trying to like make love to her or whatever. I guess it would be called rape, maybe, because
Make
she doesn't
love.
seem to be reacting. I'm going to make love to you, woman. And
Shall we make love in ZARDOZ time?
once he
If
realizes
that's a deal breaker, he also would not be able to have sex with a Korean prostitute.
I'm gonna move. I'm just gonna move down.
I guess you haven't. I guess you haven't met
Hey,
very
you.
many good Korean prostitutes.
No. You want, if you don't want them to just lay there, you got to go with the Filipinos.
Are you telling me your
So
current
they say.
wife,
So they.
your current wife doesn't lie like that for you? I
I've
refuse to
heard.
believe that. I believe anybody looking up at Howie Snowden has that exact same reaction.
Next time, I'm just gonna record a 5-minute segment of Howie recapping the movie and then air that.
I think you know what we should do as a pride bonus. We should record Howie recapping the movie on his own for 10 minutes.
See, it
That'd
doesn't.
be hilarious.
It doesn't work. I need to hear you guys say stuff to like trigger.
No,
things
you
in
don't.
me.
You try to
No,
get
it
your
would be
final
like-
thoughts 1 minute into the show.
No.
It'd be like drunk history.
I'm like, Howie, how you
drunk
doing? You're like, well, my takeaway from this film.
No, I'm just
is-
saying I need somebody to feed me something for me to play off of is all. It just can't
Look,
be
we could
only
call it.
me.
We could call it Howie's history.
He needs someone to remind him of the movie, which he clearly doesn't remember.
yeah.
any of.
Like
Yeah,
you say
at all.
something that I forgot, and I'm like, oh yeah, here's some stuff about it.
Like one of the main characters not being dead.
All right, now Howie, go on mute while Brian describes the boner animation scene.
Okay, so they take Zed back down after they go around. They bring him back down because they're.
Oh wait,
now
no!
they have all
I missed
the-
something important. This is actually
what?
important to the plot. He gets angry when he realizes this woman is like a dead fish and isn't like
He
really
does,
conscious.
yes.
And he gets so mad he throws this barrel against the wall and he starts wrecking shit. Just starts knocking everything over. But then we see that the girl woke up, like she came to life a little bit. So his wrecking shit seemed to spark some sort of consciousness in the apathetics. So that's important.
base human emotion.
Also,
human,
note to
reaction.
self: don't take Sean Connery to a Korean whorehouse.
Yeah, I don't know where any of those.
I think Sean Connery would know better whorehouse than you do. He'd have to take you to a good whorehouse.
I'm
That's
sure
probably
he
the
would.
better recommendation.
Yeah, of course. I'm just saying. I'm just talking about stereotypes. I'm not speaking from experience.
I hear your bitches just lie there like dead fish. And you'll take you
That's
to where
what they
Sean
say.
Connery gets his rocks off.
For all of those tuning in to find a Libertarian podcast, thank you for being
My
here.
wife
And we hope you're
just threw
enjoying
a
yourselves.
Little dog out because our little dog's loud and probably woke the baby up.
I promise 85% of this podcast 3 days a week is usually libertarian stuff. Actually, we are talking about libertarian stuff.
I'm
am I
bringing it back
apologizing
around.
for?
Don't worry. If
You're
we
right.
actually make it to the libertarian stuff before I have to jump off in 25 minutes, I will tell you what's libertarian.
That's all going to be up to him.
Dude, people aren't here for the libertarian
It's
stuff.
true. It's disgusting how much power he has. Okay, so anyway, so yes, the chick, she like kind of wakes up and looks because she's stirred by actual human emotions rather than this this sterilized environment where you can't have negative thoughts or feelings. So they take Zed back down and they're examining him. And they wanted to vote on whether or not, because Consuelo's been really campaigning to get rid of him. Like, you know, she hates him. He hates what he stands for. So she's campaigning to just put him to death. So they have him down there, and they're trying to monitor his sex drive, right? So they're showing him images of, like, again, to paint the tapestry, soaped up titties and just sex and just all these graphic images of erotica to try to measure his sex drive, what gets Zed aroused. And in one of the funnier scenes of the movie, Zed doesn't get aroused looking at the porn. And then after they stop playing it, he looks over at Consuela and just stares at her and starts to get a boner. And then leading up to this, they're explaining, because none of these guys get boners anymore, apparently, because they have no need to reproduce in this new society, the upper echelon, because they are reincarnated by the tabernacle.
And they eat
Which
too
is
much
the name
soy. I
of the
think,
name of
too.
the computer is the
They
tabernacle.
didn't say it outright, but I think they're eating too much soy.
Probably. But the funniest thing is they show a very 1970, like if you ever been to a planetarium as a child, like it was like a laser dildo style of like this most disjointed cock animation getting hard that I've ever seen. And then another fantastically hilarious moment in the movie.
Agreed. Should we skip to the end now?
JB is the scientist here. Dr. Science, how many times have you been into a planetarium to see a penis erection in lasers like that?
2 or 3 times, I think. You know,
To get your master's.
it's usually one of those, you know, Franklin Institute late night events that, you know, have alcohol and
Wait.
penis light shows.
Franklin? Like,
Yeah, as in Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, I was thinking of what was the Franklin scandal with the CIA and the pedophiles?
What? I don't know.
Mark, you know what I'm talking about, right?
No, not at all. Why would I know what you're talking about? I'm reviewing ZARDOZ, Howie. I'm here for one reason and one reason only.
Okay, never mind.
Back to ZARDOZ.
Now, Zed is we go to see where Zed is talking to May. He's basically just like working there now while they figure out what to do with him. And she says that Zed is a mutant and that he has breeding potential. And she says that she's discovered through these tests that she's doing that he's vastly mentally and physically superior to everyone there. So she's actually like afraid of him. She's like, we got to kill you. Like you can kill us. But then she basically agrees. Well, no, I want to study you more and I want to see what's going on here. So she.
Well, hold on. Let's pause a minute. If we're talking libertarian themes, you can't just go over that part. We have to destroy you because you can destroy us. Is that not what we see from the ruling elite in this country, where they want to destroy anything that could possibly destroy them? I said there's libertarian themes.
Well, it's the entire foreign policy that we have. Yeah.
Hey, can you?
Not only that, it's our entire domestic policy. Look at the way that they treat anybody with any sort of subversive thoughts or ideas. We must destroy you. Third parties, we must destroy you because you can destroy us. We're looking at it happen right now in election season.
Can you guys guess this quote? This is relevant. I'm not going to say it exactly because I'm just trying to remember it. But it's
we know you're not going to say it exactly, Howie. We're well aware.
That was a little redundant.
The leftist is opposed to competition because deep down they feel they're a loser.
Exactly.
Who said that? But this describes the situation, right? But who said 100%. That? Does anybody know?
Michael Malice.
Daniel McAdams.
Nope. JB, do you have a guess?
Ron Paul.
Did I say it?
It's
Rachel McAdams, I said.
No. Well, you were
McAdams.
Yeah, I'll give you all one more guess. It's someone who's in jail. It's someone who's in jail right now.
Ross Ulbricht.
No.
Jail.
Wesley Snipes.
Nope.
Just tell us, Howie.
Yeah,
Ted Kaczynski.
I'm on a time frame.
Ted Kaczynski.
Oh, noted
the
libertarian.
Unabomber.
He has got if you read his description of the leftist, it is spot on. He knows the leftist.
It's 100% accurate. It's like 100% accurate.
All right. Well, they can go listen to Free Man Beyond the Wall if they want to hear more about Ted
Continue,
Kaczynski.
Folks.
But for now,
Pete interviewed Ted Kaczynski?
No, he didn't show about it.
No, okay. I was like, what?
He is Ted Kaczynski. The real Ted Kaczynski is Pete.
If you rearrange the letters in Quinones, it spells Kaczynski.
If you guys get him on before Pete, that would be such a like.
Well, look, why do you think he's called Free Man Beyond the Wall? Because he was Ted Kaczynski and he escaped prison.
I feel like Odie won't set this up. Maybe if I write him a letter in jail pretending I'm Odie.
Odie won't even get OJ on. He's such a wuss.
I'm gonna start writing Ted Kaczynski letters signed like John Odermatt. P.S. Please come to my Felony Friday show.
All right, come on, let's get back on topic.
If you ever get to that part of the letter. So yeah, she says he's got to chill and keep his head down basically, and she'll watch over him and let him live, and she'll tell them she's doing experiments. And she also says, oh, now I have to go to my boringly democratic vote. So there's a little criticism of democracy in here too. Everything related to the vote and democracy. And even a friend says that earlier, little Ringo Mccartney says, oh yes, I vote against it, but it doesn't matter anyway. The vote doesn't even matter. It's predetermined, So there's a lot of criticism of that in here. So let's see. So they say May gets 7 days. The council says she gets 7 days to complete her study on Zed, and then Zed is going to be terminated. Then we get to the part where they do weird stuff to little Rico. Do you want to describe that, Brian? Maybe anybody?
Yeah. Well, hold on. Let me go back a little bit, because I like how also some people come out and like there's a scene where they're working or something like that, and they're like, oh, we do it this way. Oh, they have Zed helping out with the chores, right? And they go, oh, no, he can't help out with the chores. We all have to do it equally. So that's the only way to do it. Like everybody has to have an equal share, which just cracked me up because it's like the same way the leftists are thinking today, wherein, well, everybody has to be equal. Everybody has to have an equal share. Even if there's a better way or somebody that can help out or a different way of thinking, absolutely not. Has to be done this way. But then I said Friend got canceled, a.k.a. Rika McCarthy. But yeah, they canceled Friend because he dared to have the audacity to be an individual, because they wanted to force him into joining them in this psychic realm, right? They call it second meditation or something like that. They had some phrase for
second level.
Second level, yeah. So he refused because he knew if he went to second level, they could probe his mind.
I don't want to go to second level.
I won't. I won't. It was a very long. Again, too many scenes in this movie were way too long.
Yeah, this scene is like 10 minutes, and then they're doing this weird thing with their arms. They're saying, renegade, renegade.
Yeah.
and
Didn't
blah,
they
blah,
like zap him? He didn't die when they zapped him like that.
Did you see
No,
the rest
he
of the
passed
movie,
out.
Howie?
But I thought they bring people back. You like just
He
you can't
plays
die.
a
They
big
just
role
bring
in
you
the rest
back.
of the movie.
But they bring you
Some of
back.
the movie's best practical effects are featured with Friend later on.
So this
Half
Zed
felt
doesn't like what's
older.
going on here. He senses that there's some bad shit happening after he sees what happens to Friend here. So he jets off and he gets to the periphery shield of Vortex. So this is Vortex 4. I was right. This is called Vortex 4.
It is, but the vortex itself is the protective barrier.
Okay, well, whatever. And he can't get out. This is when you find they live in this in this bubble basically that it's basically
It's Brooklyn.
what do they call those things? Those little things with the stuff inside and the floats.
Oh, this is great. A snow globe?
Yes, a snow globe. Thank you.
How would you not know that?
It's basically like they live in a snow globe. And then Connery ends up, he's looking for Friend, and he finds that where all these old people are dancing, and he finds Friend, and half of Friend's face is all old man now. Only half his face, not the whole face.
Yeah. How does that happen? Is the tabernacle like, all right, we're going to age you, but just one half?
Yeah, I guess
Is that like extra shitty?
This was a special
He had a
punishment
stroke during
just
his
for Zed.
aging process,
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't get why they only half aged him, just to make it weird,
Maybe,
I guess.
JB. Oh, we should start using that more. When JB says a point that's half right, maybe JB.
Maybe JB.
Maybe
They are amazed that when they learn that Zed can die. So all these old people, they all agree. Oh, Zed can die. Well, we should give him back to death. So they get excited. They all go after Zed, who starts running away from them until he finds the best weapon possible. He finds a crutch and he starts swinging it around at all these old people. So that's enough to.
I thought did they
Until
want
he
to kill
figures
him?
out
I
he
thought
could
they wanted.
beat up 1 million old people.
They said they want to
Yeah.
give him back to death. What else? Does that
Oh,
sound
I
like?
thought for some reason I thought they wanted death. Like he was a
They
death
do.
bringer. They wanted to die. I
They
didn't
do
know they
want
were
to
trying
die.
to kill him in that scene. Okay.
They do all want to die, but at first they were like, "Oh, this guy can die. Oh, we should give him the gift of being able to die because we can't do that." So they were trying to, help him
Oh,
out.
it's a kindness. Yeah, it's a kindness.
In their minds, it was
How
actually, yeah.
many 2020s would it
Sometimes
take?
death is a kindness.
How many
for
2020s would it take for you to want to die? If you had just like Groundhog Day, you had to live the year over and over and over again.
1.5.
I'd say 20.
All right, let's try to get through this someday.
Okay.
So May, we get more flashbacks. May is getting more flashbacks out of Zed's mind. We find out that Zed tells the story of how he lost his innocence by shooting at a face in a window. And he goes into this building, and it's this giant library. And then there's these weird, there's somebody in there that he's sort of chasing, or that's kind of messing with him. And we see these hands come out, and then they present this book, and the book is just floating there. So Zed comes up and looks at the book. It's a children's book, but he'd never seen a book before, so he's getting all excited. And he basically learns to read, and he reads
But the
all
learning
the books.
it came easy. Learning came
Came easy. He reads all the books in this library.
Reading came easy.
Apparently, in the same weekend, he learned to read and read all these
Came
books.
easy.
Yeah. It does, reading doesn't come that easy. But hey, what do I know? I'm not a Zed. I'm not a Zardoz.
Pimping does.
And this is where he says he learned all that had been hidden from him before the darkness fell. And this is also where she finds out that he in fact did kill Arthur and that he knew he was Zardoz. So we knew this the whole time, but this is just when May really figures it out. And she also figures out his friends were also mutants. These other guys in the Reds, they were like him. They also had superior physical strength and superior mental powers. So it wasn't just Zed here that had these powers. She's learning a lot more about what Zed is really all about. And then he also talks about this one book that he found that really opened his eyes. And she keeps asking, "What is the book? What is the book?" during this whole story. And then finally, it's revealed that the book was The Wizard of Oz. And because he read The Wizard of Oz, that's how he knew that the giant Zardoz was fake and was really a wizard living behind it, because he had read The Wizard of Oz. So that's what clued him into the whole thing. What do you think about that?
Wizard
Reveal?
Explain the way he was
of
holding-
Oz. It's fucking genius. I love
The
it.
way he was holding it, he had his fingers over the W-I part, so it said Zard, and they said Oz is wait a second, this is from the book.
Yeah, that's how we got the name. Yeah, that's how we got Zardoz. And then I finally, I literally clapped out loud. I went, "That's Zard. That's how we got Zardoz." Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was just a meaningless
awesome.
word. I was really impressed. I got to be
Yeah.
honest. And she keeps pressing Zed. She's like, were you doing this to find the truth or get revenge? Because Zed's kind of saying, like, I was just trying to figure out what was going on. I didn't know. But she keeps pressing him, and finally he admits, no, it's revenge. He was trying to go kill Zardoz, and he wasn't just curious. He was trying to do this on purpose.
He hates Zardoz.
Yeah. So now I wrote here.
He's a liar.
I wrote, I guess they're going to make love now. So they start to, like, make out. But here Consuela shows up. And Consuela senses May. She says, like, oh, you're not supposed to be doing this. Look at you. Oh, so this is your science experiment here? So she says that May is going to be Cockblocksuela. That's pretty good. She says May is going to be aged 50 years, no less. So, of course, Sean Connery starts to fight back with his best ability, which is rape. He doesn't actually rape Consuela, but it does appear that
yeah, but they're both trying to mind rape each other, though.
Yeah, it appears that's what he's going to do.
And then Sean Connery goes blind and runs into all of the threads. Stop running into threads, Sean Connery.
Yeah, then all the elite people come out and they like smother Sean Connery in plastic, and then he like breaks his arm through the plastic, and they act like so shocked.
They were so
like,
surprised.
oh my god, how did he break through this plastic?
It's like literally as thick as a Ziploc bag, and he was like, it's like pushing through, and they were like, he's clearly an Adonis.
Right. And then Zed breaks out, and he gets over to the periphery, and we then find out that his boys are there. His other, like, mutant boys are there. This was all a plan the whole fucking time. It's finally we have this revelation now that Zed was there. This is entirely planned. He entirely knew what he was going to do to go into the head to kill Arthur Frayne, kill Zardoz, and organize a way to basically bring himself into the vortex or what have you, and bring his boys in to take them all out. This is all a giant plan. Zed was not just, most of this movie you think he's just kind of curious and doesn't really know what's going on. But this is where we find out. This is
hold on,
all
That's simple to me.
I want to go back for 1 second, Mark, because you skipped over, I think, the part, because he's running from all the people. They're hunting him on horseback and all this shit. Or maybe it's after this. I don't know. It's a lot of running. It's a lot of being hunted if you're Sean Connery. And a lot of great hill sliding by whoever his stunt stubble is, by the way. But
Sean Connery
does his own hill sliding stunts. Amazing. Hill sliding. That's the one thing I can do. We skipped over, I think, the part where he runs into the apathetics, right? So full circle.
We did not skip over that. That was coming next, but I'll let you describe it because we're there.
Okay. I couldn't remember when it happened exactly. So he's running away from all these people on horseback that are chasing him. Consuela's hunting him down. And he runs into where the apathetics are because he's still waiting for his people to come across the vortex. So he's in the apathetics, and the chick that he was fondling and half raping earlier comes up, and she's like, oh, yes, I'm so inspired. And she kisses him, right? And from that, she's like, we take life from you. And again, I couldn't help thinking, like, okay, these fucking apathetic elites take life from people that have something to give. Like, this is like government in action. We're stealing the life out of you. You who are going out against the norm, you who are going out and dare to be different and dare to think for yourself and dare to act on your own. We're stealing your life because that's the only thing that gives us anything.
I took that part differently. I took that as like you're giving us life by being here and doing this revolution.
Me too.
But they were the apathetic.
But then they tried to kill. Yeah. But then they tried to like kill him though. They were like so smothering him though.
No, that's but I thought that's why they were passing it around. Weren't they passing it?
Yeah, but then they were passing it around at first, and then it was kind of like more and more and more, and that's why he had to like push him away and run.
Oh, they tried to suck.
It was almost like they became into a frenzy of like once they got a taste of him.
A vampiric frenzy.
Yeah, vampires.
They just wanted to suck him dry.
Yeah, well, it's too bad she was so apathetic earlier. She could have done that.
And then all these people, they're taking the life and like tasting it, and then they start making out and with each other, and then
it's just a big old orgy. And
exactly.
To paint a tapestry.
Well, we skip immediately. We skip from day to night to paint a tapestry. Yes, paint the tapestry. Zed is running away from the old people, and suddenly we find that it's orgy time. Basically, like it's orgy time with. It's now like the apathetics that were formerly apathetics are now not apathetic, and like the old people are getting involved in the whole thing now, and it's just. It's crazy. There's people they're murdering people. They're having orgies. It's
wild. They're like, oh, we killed a renegade, and then we were overcome with lust, and they're all just naked, fucking, just all naked. To paint a tapestry. And then, okay, so moving on. So then Zed realizes that Arthur Friend, aka Rico McCarthy, had hinted at
Arthur Frayne is different from Arthur. Is from Friend.
Friend. What's his first name?
His name's his Friend.
Oh, Friend. So anyway,
Friend.
So Zed goes back to the Friend den because he realizes that they're talking about this tabernacle and how it's for eternal and has infinite memory space. And Zed's so intelligent that he looks at a crystal and he realizes that a crystal, a diamond, has infinite refraction space in which to keep.
You skip past something that we have to mention, and that is when they dress Sean Connery up as a bride to bring him to friend. They disguise him as a bride because he says, bring me to friend. I need to find friend. So they dress him up. For some reason, they dress him up as a bride, and then they reveal, like, oh, ready to kiss the bride? And they pull it back, and it's Sean Connery in drag. I don't know what the point of that was, but it was hilarious. And now you can proceed.
It was hilarious.
Now you can proceed to start the crystal.
Yeah, so they get in the friend den, and Sean Connery's thinking because he's like, I know I have to destroy the tabernacle, and the tabernacle's talking to him, right? Because it's everywhere and it's eternal in this area.
This is all. I think we skipped a lot of stuff here actually, because we skipped the part where Arthur Frayne appears again and tries to stab Zed, but it's a fake knife, and then he says,
because the tabernacle. If we didn't say this already, they live forever because the tabernacle reincarnates them forever, forever and ever. And the tabernacle is something that has been designed by these people. The old people designed the tabernacle to give these people a shot at basically perfecting human society. So they couldn't die. They were protected. They had, they had all the time in the world to make a great society. Yet the people that designed that society have been regulated to this crazy old folks nut home where they dress in tuxedos and dance and blow party horns all the time and drink champagne.
Yes.
Yes.
Good summary.
So there you go.
Also somewhere in here, Consuela goes to try to kill him, and somehow just instead falls in love with him and becomes the new love interest.
That was after he goes to the tabernacle, I thought.
It's right. No, it's right before that. My notes are in chronological order.
Okay. So Consuela, falls in love. Zed goes and is drawn inside the tabernacle by the tabernacle itself, and then has one of the most drawn out, lengthy, retarded goddamn scenes in the history of movie making, where he's walking around with mirrors and then there's shit projected on his face.
You're skipping over the entire conversation with the crystal when
because I got to leave in 4 minutes.
Well, that's not the listener's fault. They shouldn't be subjected to your.
All right, go. Well, go through with it. But
I don't feel
too
like
long. All these scenes are too goddamn long.
Yeah, go on. I don't care. He talks to the crystal, and that's how he figures out that the tabernacle is the crystal. Basically,
I was saying that because the tabernacle crystal is talking about infinite refraction and how he's like, and Zed puts it together that you can only have infinite memory space if you have infinite refraction, like in a crystal. And he goes, the tabernacle says, "I'm in the palm of your hand," and he's holding a crystal, but the tabernacle has the power to suck him inside. So really, I don't know. He didn't have shit in his hand.
Yeah, but then we go to this crazy scene where he's in the crystal. There's all these mirrors. He shoots himself inside one of the mirrors, and that kills that version of him, but that's not really him. Let's see.
Which, by the way, have you seen Conan the Barbarian, or maybe it's Conan the Destroyer?
From the guy, he says he's got 2 minutes left. We're going on another.
This is
tangent.
very important.
Yeah, go ahead.
In Conan the Destroyer. Yeah, you guys, have you seen Conan the Destroyer? Because Conan the Barbarian also fights himself against the blue magician.
Oh yeah, that is a great scene.
Awesome scene where he also has to kill a guy in the mirror.
Not quite as good as this scene.
Not quite as good, but it was a lot shorter, which I fucking greatly appreciated.
I wonder if it was inspired by this movie.
I bet it was, for sure. And then, okay, real quick. So then a message about, I think the message overall is about evolution to overcome human-caused imbalance. Don't put yourself in a bubble and then refuse to evolve. You need to evolve. You need to have the ability to evolve and grow. And if you try to control everything, control nature and deny, this and that, it's a fucking wrong idea. That's what I took away from this. And then we'll get into the weird end scene with
Zed emerges from this thing with powers. Basically, it seems he can just control everything. He's putting back with his mind. It seems all
political powers
destroyed. He's now being followed by this harem of women as well as Rika Mccartney friend. They're all following him now. He's basically like in charge. Let's see.
Let's talk about how the fact that but Ringo Mccartney gets so the ZARDOZ gang comes in. All of his friends come in and murder everybody, and they're willing and waiting for it. They're happy to see it.
Yeah,
so
totally
friend
skipping a bunch of stuff, but yeah.
Oh, well, I don't care.
Well, this is when we find out that that she, we don't even know who she is. They reference she, maybe that is like God or something. That Zed was actually created. He was bred for the purpose of coming here to destroy them. And so Arthur Frayne, and we also find out that Arthur Frayne was the guy who set up the book. So Arthur Frayne was not only manipulating the Brutalists, but he was also the one who manipulated Sean Connery into becoming the person that would go kill Arthur Frayne and come back to the Vortex and kill everybody. So Arthur was manipulating this whole thing, and there's a scene where Arthur and Friend are talking about this, like, oh well, I manipulated him, and then Friend's just like, yeah, but Sean Connery, Zed says, no, but these other guys, they just manipulated you, so you're just a manipulator too. So basically, everyone's manipulating each other.
I got 10 more minutes, by the way. I decided
deterministic timeline and them and their Calvinist God has predetermined everything. So there you go.
I did love how, though, Friend and so they're talking, you manipulated this and that. And so now we're at the point where the heathens get over the gates.
The heathens get, I'm still on the fact that there's a really funny scene when the Stonehead falls to the guy from the sky, and now they're doing this like yoga thing or whatever, and Zed tells May to like take the crystal and go through the wall with her friends and just take off, and he's got it from here basically, and he gives all the women on the horsebacks high fives on his way back, and I just laughed so hard. I thought that was so fucking out of place, hilarious.
Good game. Good guy.
And Zed is basically God now. Arthur is here. He's basically the god of this place now with all his mutant buddies. And Arthur is here, and he says, this is where he says like he carefully bred Zed, and that he reveals that he was the man in the library, and then Zed, like, this is what I referenced a second ago. See, Zed tells Arthur that he was bred and led himself, and then Arthur says, "We've all been used and abused and amused." So it's Arthur and Friend are having this conversation now. And then they call him Zed the Liberator, and now, of course, now that he has liberated some of those elites and they see things differently, they're going off to live a different life outside of the Vortex. Now it's time for Zed and the mutants to kill everybody, all the old people and Friend. They've all been waiting to die for so long. So now they all get their wish, and now we just have a giant slaughter scene where they just go around shooting everybody. Some of them are just like playing violins and playing music. Others are begging to be killed. Some are fucking. Yeah, it's a giant massacre, but they all seem pretty thrilled with it. So would you say this is not an NAP violation since they were all literally begging to be killed?
Not an NAP violation.
Yeah, I'm a proponent of assisted suicide, so I have to say that.
In this case, I think it's fair to say they've lived for so long, they were so miserable that they were totally justified. Now, it does appear they might have done this anyway, because they were there to take over and kill people and end the whole system.
Potato.
And Zed and the mutants should already be in jail for their previous NAP violations.
Well, true, all the rapes.
Well, yeah, sure.
And the murders and the forced labor camps, because we didn't talk about this, but the Brutals were also told by ZARDOZ to grow wheat in the fields because he was trying to basically establish an outside realm outside the Vortex that was livable. So they had his minions, the Bandolero rape boys, tell all the other guys, because there's all these other people that are kind of dressed like Dickinsonian poor people that just live, that they would shoot and murder and force.
Like these, like the plebs, I guess, whoever they are, like the underclass who've had to farm.
Right. So they forced them to farm to rebuild society because the end result for Arthur Friend was that he wanted society to be rebuilt.
You keep combining
outside.
Arthur and Friend and by calling him Arthur Friend, but that's classic McCartney.
I mean, Arthur, what the fuck's the guy's name? Frayne. Well, that's shame of this movie. We're having goddamn people that sound the same.
That's why I call him Ringo Mccartney. So we're not confused.
So I'll just call him ZARDOZ. So ZARDOZ has been training them to become self-sufficient, to grow wheat, to basically rebuild society after whatever great war befell everything, because everything outside is completely destroyed.
Right, because the people that ran the different like areas, like that was just one area that Arthur Frayne was running, and they all pretty much like have autonomy. They didn't even really realize what he was doing there, and that he was breeding these basically genetically and mentally superior.
I missed that part. That's the part. Each one of the immortals had their little quadrant that they were god of.
Yeah.
No.
Not each one of them.
That's not true.
No, they did, because they were like. They talked about it in one scene where they said like, oh, no one wants to run the Outlands. I thought they were just different areas. Maybe you're right. Maybe there's just the one guy that was running that area.
Well, you know how they're like vortex, whatever needs this. I think they were in
Right.
control of the vortexes, but he was in charge of the outland.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. Each of them controlled different vortexes, but that he controlled the outlands. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
At this point,
So
yeah, go ahead. You can.
I just want to say, can we talk just about, okay, so clearly, you know what's going to happen, right? The ending of this movie was as weird as the beginning. They kill everybody, and then you just have them, of course, all you see is Sean Connery sitting there next to Consuela, and of course she has a baby, and you're like, okay, fine. So the baby happens, you're like, okay, we expected that. But then it keeps going and going until they become fucking old people skeletons.
It's artistic.
Yeah, well, I wrote down this note. This movie is 80% genius and 20% artistic retardation.
Yeah, it was a little too.
I honestly part of me felt like this is all supposed to be happening in one day. Them aging, the whole thing.
Oh no.
I know, but it was hilarious the way they shot it with them just sitting there.
And that was a different part. Did we miss the part? He had sex with all those other immortals, right? And like they had like different things on their faces. Do you remember when they were like giving him different information or something like that? Like each like.
Oh yeah,
like
we did miss that part. You're right. That was when he was getting educated by them.
yeah, was he having sex with those women, and that's how the information was being passed?
Wait, that's the scene I was talking about. Well, So when I was talking about the scene that was way too long, it was 10 minutes of just flashing images projected on Sean Connery's face.
And each woman was like a different aspect of knowledge. There was like courses.
Yeah.
He was like fucking his way through college.
They
or
said
something.
they're going to educate you through
That's
touch.
how you learn.
It was literally like the Matrix. They were like, we're going to teach you, whatever. And ZARDOZ is like, I know Kung Fu,
Yeah, that was an important scene that we skipped over. I think it's pretty impressive we only missed one important scene amongst all this nonsense, though.
Well, I tried to talk about it, but then you said I was skipping over stuff.
Because I thought you were in the crystal later at that point. So there's a lot of crystal stuff going on.
So what do you guys give it? What's your grade?
Oh boy.
How do you even grade this movie? Because to grade it almost justifies comparing it to other films, which is just outrageous because it's so on such a different level than any other film out there. I don't know. I'm going to let you guys talk about it first. I don't mean, what's our grading system? Are we doing the pause up, pause down? The Lions pause up, pause down that we bring out once a year?
I think it should be pause up, pause down is fine, but what if we want multiple pause involved?
Well, there's four pause on a Lion, so you can rate it out.
I thought it was out of 4 pause because it
is exactly.
Okay, so out of 4 pause,
it's
then
not 1 out of 4. 0 out of 4.
What's your rating?
Well, honestly, I wanted to like this movie. I really, really wanted to, but I honestly can't say that I did. I'll be honest. It was just too 70s. I told you this thing. I do have a thing. There's a big drop off.
I hate nudity.
It's like, yeah, but like, I don't need to watch like this 70s movie to see tits. Like, it's 2020. Come on, McWilliams. Come on. It's not 1993.
It's so authentic.
Yeah, it's not 1993 anymore. I need more than that now. Come on, be serious.
They're old now.
Yeah,
now. That's in the back of their mind the whole time.
Yeah, it's like this thing felt like a Masters of Fine Art thesis project, and the acting was like weird. Like, I've seen Sean Connery act even in the 70s. He can act way better than this. So he's acting like this on purpose.
Right.
He's acting poorly on
and
purpose.
This is what I thought about the movie.
So I'm like
this is what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
I think that parts of this movie I later realized were supposed to be intentionally bad acting because he's supposed to be acting in the movie. He's acting like a dumb
affected.
It was like
not. Yeah, it was so affected, and I get that. I guess that's the point, but I don't know. I don't know. I just
was having
didn't
that
get
same problem
into
too
it.
in the beginning. I'm like, why is Sean Connery being such a bad actor here when he's?
It was just so random and ridiculous.
He is a good actor. He's so good. He can play a bad actor.
So amazing. All right, hold on. I actually do have to leave now. So let me give my quick review to you guys.
Well, no, we're gonna sign off. Yeah, give your.
Well, yeah. I'll give it 3 out of 4 paws up. I watched this movie. My dad, went to Temple and majored got his master's in film. So he loves this movie. We watched it when I was maybe like 15, 16. I loved this movie. I think it's awesome. The only reason I didn't give it 4 paws up was because of the ponderously self-masturbatorily long 70s bullshit projecting crap on people's faces and stupid scenes, which pissed me off. But otherwise, I think the movie is great. I think the themes are amazing. I think it's a really fascinating story, and I love watching it. I've seen it 6 times. I'll watch it again anytime.
When this movie started, I was ready to give it a 2, and by the end, I couldn't give it anything but a 4. 4 fucking
Oh,
points.
all right. All right.
Because I go on this. This is what I really want to rate a movie on. Can I rewatch it? Can I rewatch it with new people? And will I be watching it excited to see how they react to it? And this checks all the boxes right there. So boom.
Yep.
Can I
And
say
also,
this at
JB,
least?
how can you say you want to have it as your Halloween costume and give it such a poor grade?
Well, I haven't even given my grade, but I'll give my grade now, and I will have to, in good conscience, I'll have to give it 1 paw. But
What?
But,
Oh my
no,
God.
No, but I'm willing to watch it again. I'm willing to give it another try. This
Perhaps
is a movie I
under
think
the
I like
influence.
You
better
should
on
watch
rewatching.
it with Howie. Watch it with Howie to see it for the first time because
Yeah, I think this is a movie that might grow on me on rewatch. So I'm willing to give it
watch
another
with
shot.
Howie about
It'll
it, yeah.
grow on you like a badly animated erection.
Sorry to
As
burst
seen in the movie Zardoz.
Sorry to burst your bubble, but I will not be watching this again. I don't like.
You mean
old
You didn't
first
watch
time.
it the first time.
I don't like old movies.
So what's your rating?
I would give this 2 ratings. I would give it a 20/20 rating of 2 paws.
I gotta go. This is gonna take too long.
If I saw this-
Bye!
if
Live
I saw
long and
this-
live free.
If I saw this in 1974, I probably would have given it 3 paws.
You weren't alive in 1974, so you don't get to do that.
I'm just saying, if I saw it back then, before I knew what movies could be and how things could be better.
Before way better movies came out.
Yeah, like in the day and age of really great movies.
What came out first, this or 2001 Space Odyssey? That's the question.
I don't know.
Because I wanted to determine what
Can look
kind of
it up
effects
real
were
quick.
available.
I don't know, man. That's just all right too. People are like, "Oh, it's so great."
1968. So, and this
Okay.
came out in
I can't give
74,
them the
right?
technology excuse then, because we had the
No, it
technology
wasn't.
for-
Yeah, I think by 74. I felt this was bad on purpose.
I think it's
Like
partially
the-
bad on purpose, and it's partially a budget issue. They don't really.
Well,
have money
what
for, like,
year
amazing
did Clockwork
effects.
Orange come out? Because I thought that was better.
That came out in the 60s too, didn't it? Late 60s.
Yeah, I thought Clockwork Orange was 70s, but it could be.
I
wrong.
prefer that. and I
71.
would watch it again.
Prefer it to what? 2001.
Oh, to
Yeah, Clockwork Orange is
Zardoz.
71.
To Zardoz. I like Clockwork
71.
Orange.
So
better
what's
than
a Zardoz? Yeah, if we're gonna compare Stanley Kubrick movies, my 4 paws is somewhat.
Yeah, wait. The
tongue-in-cheek.
director of this movie, did he also direct a couple of other famous things? I noticed like things I wasn't expecting. Like
He directed what's it called? What's that movie where Leo gets raped? He directed The Remnant with Leonardo DiCaprio. Most people don't know that. John Borman is his name. I was
Yeah,
joking
John
about that.
Is that the
Borman.
one where he got raped by a bear?
Yeah, but I made that up. He didn't direct that.
What the fuck?
He directed a bunch of other. He directed Deliverance.
Yeah, Deliverance. Yeah, that's the
Exorcist
one.
2. Those are the 2 big ones. I'd say that.
Excalibur.
I never saw any
I
of
never
those
saw it.
movies.
The Tailor of Panama. I feel like I've heard of that. I haven't seen it.
You might have never seen Deliverance, but I guaranteed you've seen it referenced in pop culture.
Oh
It's
yeah, yeah.
One of the most referenced.
I know about it. But I
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
The whole squealing in the bayou thing. It's pretty terrible.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to really rate this as a movie, it's obviously not as good a movie as anything Stanley Kubrick has any made or any real good movie. But I'm not here as a movie critic. I'm here as someone who is going to enjoy a movie or not, and I freaking enjoyed the hell out of this movie. And there are a lot of themes when you get past the initial cheesiness of it, and you actually start to look into what they're saying. There are many themes there. There's definitely criticisms of communism, criticisms of democracy, and I think that's why young Anthony Meyer chose this film. Beyond the fact that it's just ridiculous, is that he did see that there were some themes that he trusted the Lions to ferret out of it by the end. But yeah. What are you guys' thoughts? Any other themes? I know how.
Yeah, I guess I could see that, but there was a lot of also Goon Squad and Mass Slaughter in there
yeah.
that I feel that kind
It's
of runs.
1972, JB. What do you want?
That kind of
We gotta
runs
please the masses here,
antithetical
too.
to the whole libertarian idea of non-aggression. But other than that,
A libertarian theme doesn't mean that everyone in the movie acted libertarian.
No.
Well,
Nobody
no,
in
no,
the
no,
movie-
no,
nobody in the
I'm
movie
just
is
saying that's just
Or
that
that
was
anybody
just a
did.
very strong theme.
There was not one libertarian character.
I think that's. What about Friend? Did he do anything bad? He seemed nice enough.
Well, actually, maybe Friend. All right.
He seemed to only just be a part of it, but didn't. He never really wanted. He voted against
didn't-
everything. He
Yeah,
never
yeah, yeah.
wanted to. He never wanted to sentence anybody to anything. He had been sentenced to age a few times. So I think Friend is a candidate for not violating the NAP. He didn't even want to go to the second level.
I bet if we knew his full past, it would be a no. But
I'm sure there's
from what
something in
from
there.
what we've seen, yeah, okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah, I'm sure he had a bad date or two that went too far. Probably.
Oh, for sure.
All right, kids. Well, it's been fun hanging out here. I feel like this is the same show because we just did a conspiracy corner the other day for our patrons, and this just feels like an extension of that. It never ends. So we have so much fun behind the wall here. Not the Freeman wall that Pete/Ted is behind, but the wall, the Patreon wall, the Patreon wall that funds this show, that lets us live stream, that lets us have this Zoom technology, that lets us go to events that we didn't end up going to this year because of certain things, but that will enable us to go to more events in the future. Check it all out at patreon.com/Lions of Liberty. For as little as $50 a month, you can be just like Anthony and make us review the movie or of your choice or do anything else at all you want on this show because you get to control an episode at the Nittany level. And but we have levels for all people, levels for everybody, and everybody at the $5 and higher up gets to hear the Conspiracy Corner that we just recorded. Why don't you guys, since you're actually here right after recording one, somebody want to give me a preview of what we just did on Conspiracy Corner? Because I already forgot, to be honest. Howie, what do we talk about? Come on.
QAnon.
Okay, thank you. That's all we'll say. We talked about QAnon. And until next time, friends,
Live long!
And live free.
Free.
I didn't want to start.
free. No one wants to be the one to start.